What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. To Appreciate y'all coming back, checking me out for my top 10 movies of 2024. This is non-horror movies. I already did my top 10 horror of 2024. I will put a card somewhere up here in the video for that if you would like to check it out. And I just dropped my review for the first horror movie of 2025 that I saw called Presence. I will also put a thing up here for that as well if you guys are interested in checking that out. 2024 was kind of a weird year for me when it comes to movies because every other year I definitely knew what was going to be like in my top 10 for sure. And this year I don't know, I kind of, even though I have four honorable mentions with my 10, even though yeah, so even with that, I still kind of had to go back and be like, what movies did I really enjoy this year that kind of stayed with me? And for everybody else, I've seen that they were like, this was a great year for movies. And I don't know. I don't, I, it just, I don't feel the same way for that. I'm not saying it was a bad year at all. I said just a lot of movies I walked out of this year and I was kind of just like, yeah, okay, that, all right. Maybe it's just because I got a weird taste. I don't know. My taste is vastly different from a lot of people because I've realized that I love movies people hate. I hate movies or dislike movies that people love. So I don't know. Maybe that. So we'll see. I feel like my list is very different from a lot of other people's. I haven't watched a lot of other people to see what their top tens are. I haven't seen what a lot of other people top tens are. I've seen a few here and there, but I just have this feeling that mine will be kind of different. There's some movies on here that I'm sure is on everybody's, but for sure I know that mine is probably pretty different for the most part. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and dive into this. This is just my opinion. This is just my list. So, if there's any movies on here you guys don't agree with, totally understand, totally get it. So, we'll start off with my first honorable mention. Sorry, I got to look at my list here. My first honorable mention was actually a Amazon movie, and that is the remake or reimagining, however you want to put it, of Roadhouse. I know this movie was fucking hated by so many people because of the love for the original. Totally understand. Totally understand. Uh, I get it. The first one is a classic. The first one is fantastic. But I just had a lot of fun with this one. That, and I could be biased because Jake Gyllenhaal is one of my favorite actors of all time. I will watch that dude in anything. But this was just fun. I just had a fun time with it. I was able to sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And I'm kind of glad that they're making a second one. I know that's probably controversial because of how many people dislike this one. But I actually really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun with it. So, uh, if anybody feels like checking it out, I mean, it's just fun action. It's just so it's on Amazon. It was an Amazon original for them. It was supposed to go to theaters, and I think something happened with that, and it kind of ruffled some feathers. But other than that, I would check it out if I were you. My other honorable mention is The Fall Guy. I don't know why this movie failed. I thought it was a lot of again. It was this big blockbuster summer action thing that was supposed to, probably make a lot of money. It was probably intended to make a lot of money, and it didn't do too well. It's just one of those movies. It's a lot of fun. It's action packed. It's funny, and I know a lot of people said for them it kind of didn't work because they were trying to shove too much into one thing. It felt like it was like this homage to stunt guys in this action movie with a comedy mixed with a romance and all that stuff. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It slightly didn't make my top 10. I really like Ryan Gosling. I really love Emily Blunt. She's one of my favorite actresses. I thought they were great together. I don't know if it's just because no one, knew what the hell the Fall Guy was from the original TV show back in the day, or if no one just gave a shit. Because, I figured Ryan Gosling, since he just, was pretty hot off of Barbie, I figured maybe that would sell it alone. But I guess not. I don't know why, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's streaming on uh, Peacock or somewhere now. I think it's where it's at because I think it was Universal. I think it's on Peacock. Other honorable mention is a movie that came out on HBO later in the year. I think it was October. I think it was October. It was a movie called Caddo Lake. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Caddo Lake. I'm pretty sure how you say it. This was a awesome like psychological thriller, like a mind bending movie. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give anything away. But it's Dylan O'Brien is like the main character, and you follow him where he's trying to figure some stuff out, and you're following multiple characters, and then stuff starts to. It's almost like I said, I don't want to tell you anything about it because it's so interesting to watch the story of this unfold, and by the end of it, you're like, what the, it's just it's very mind bending. But if you like psychological like thrillers and just mind bending movies, it's really good. It actually really surprised me with how much I walked away thinking about it and really enjoyed it. So I would check it out. It's on Max or HBO Max if you have that. And the last one, my last honorable mention is one that I actually watched very late in the year, and that is Monster Summer. I again had a lot of fun with it. There's just something about movies that when they're filmed either at the beach or near lakes or something like that, that environment, I don't know, makes me feel a certain way. I guess because I love the coast and all that stuff so much that it just, I don't know, it brings out like these nostalgia feelings in me, I guess. And this is a I don't know, this was a pretty fun movie about a kid who something weird starts happening in his town, and he's convinced that this witch is like stealing, you know, souls or something of his friends. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's when this witch visits their friends or attacks his friends or the people in the town, they never come back the same. So he teams up. This is the same kid from the Black Phone. I cannot remember his name, but he teams up with Mel Gibson, who is this uh, used to be a cop or private investigator, and they start to try to figure out this whatever's going on here and this stuff with this witch and whatnot. Again, it's a movie I had a lot of fun with. It's probably, I mean, it's not aimed towards kids. I mean, but it's more kid friendly. Like if you were trying to get somebody into horror, this would probably be a pretty good gateway movie for that. Like I said, it was just, to me, again, it was a lot of fun. That's the best thing that I can say for a lot of these movies, minus a few that kind of hit on a personal level. But most of them, I just had a lot of fun with them. That's what I walked away with. So yeah, Monster Summer. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I think it just came out on DVD, which pisses me off because it didn't get a Blu-ray or a 4K. Anyway, so but yeah, that's my last honorable mention. So going into my actual top 10 of 2024. So number 10 is a little teeny movie called Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie was just funny. It was a blast. This is the first Marvel movie that I look forward to in a while. I'm not saying that I've just kind of got burnt out on Marvel trying to push so much crap and content down your throat between the TV shows and the movie. You got to watch this to connect to this so you'll understand this and all that. And Deadpool, while it did connect to certain stuff, it was distanced enough to where it was its own story, but it paid homage to other things. I don't want to spoil it in case nobody's seen it, but it paid homage to other things and other characters. And plus, we got to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. I mean, it's like he never left the role. Dude just killed it. The dynamic between the two of them is fantastic. Hugh Jackman doesn't miss a beat. There's a particular scene in a car where he's given this he's given this speech to him about, how it's, how he can't die and how it's one of God's best jokes and all that stuff. And Hugh Jackman absolutely just nails that. Just great, just a fucking great actor. He's fantastic. But yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, what can you say about it? It was funny. It was a comedy. One of the comedies that I really laughed at throughout the year. And it was a blast. I had a lot of fun with it. It's on Disney Plus. It's on 4K and Blu-ray and all that stuff now. But check it out if you're a Marvel fan. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's just a lot of fun. Number 9 is a movie from India that I think technically probably was at some festivals and stuff in 2023, but it came out in like July of 2024. I didn't get a chance to watch it until it came out on 4K and stuff because it didn't play anywhere around me. But it's a movie called Kill. If you like anything action, like I'm talking like John Wick or The Raid, anything like that, this movie's for you because this movie is awesome. Essentially about this guy who's in love with this girl, and her dad doesn't like the guy, so she wants her to marry somebody else. So the plan is they're going to get on this train together, and well, she gets on the train with her family, and he's on the train with a friend of his. And essentially, once they get to the destination, they're just going to run off together. I think, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that was how it was going to go. Of course, things don't go that way. The train gets overrun by these bandits, and this guy fucks these people up, and it's so great because you're in this small, tight knit place. And it's like this small contained area that you're in. And what's so great about it is you really think he's fucking people up. And then the title card doesn't appear till like 45 minutes into the movie. And then after the title card, he really fucks some people up. So you're like, holy shit. You thought he was doing some stuff before. You're like, holy shit. So if you love action movies, this was a fantastic movie. Not many people talked about this movie, but it was awesome. It was kick ass. I highly recommend it. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but you can buy it and all that stuff, and it's on VOD and all that. I would, like I said, if you love action and you know you love action, check this one out for sure. My number 8 is a movie called Anora. It came out, I think, at some festivals and stuff earlier in the year, and thankfully it played near me because heard a lot of buzz about it, and really wanted to check it out. I'm kind of mixed on Sean Baker. I like him as a filmmaker, but I didn't really care for the Florida Project. There was elements I liked, like the whole stuff with Willem Dafoe being the what do you call it, the hotel owner. I really kind of wanted to follow more of him around than the other ones, than the mother and the daughter and all that stuff and the stuff she was going through. I was kind of more invested in Willem Dafoe, so I was kind of disappointed with that one. I enjoyed Red Rocket. It's not a movie I would probably watch all the time, but I enjoyed it. Plus, it was really cool to see Simon Rex in something serious for once. I'm so used to him in like the spoof movies or comedy movies, so it was kind of nice to see him do something different. And I have not seen Tangerine by him. That's the one I haven't checked out. I've been meaning to check out, and it's on my list to check out, but haven't got around to it yet. As for Anora, I kept hearing people talk about how it was really funny and all that stuff, and I think how most people got turned on to it, or how it was described to them, was this is a Cinderella story for sex workers. And it's essentially about Mikey Madison's character, Honora, who is incredible in this movie. And it's so odd to see her in a movie like this because it's so far from who she is. Because from what I've seen in interviews and people that's met her, she seems like a very quiet to herself person, and she's got to be very, out there and all that stuff. It's the same with when she was in Scream as well. So, but anyway, she's great in the movie. So happy she got nominated for an Oscar. So happy. So well deserved. But for like the first 30 minutes or so, it's her working at the strip club, and she meets this guy who, he's rich, or his parents are rich, and they hook up and all this stuff, and they start to, she starts to really like him. Eventually, they have these like adventures and whatnot together, and eventually they get married. And then about there, when they get married, the movie takes like this shift, and it almost turns into like this comedy when these guys show up to try to take the son to try to get the marriage annulled and all that stuff, and they work for the kid's parents, and once they show up, it's hilarious all the way through. Once that happens, it's like this duration of where she just gives them hell for about the rest of the movie, and the dynamic back and forth and all that stuff, and she's beating the shit out of them and whatnot, and because essentially when they show up, the kid runs off, so she's stuck with these guys for the rest of the movie, and they're trying to find him. And while it was really funny, there's stuff near the end that kind of leaves you on this heartfelt note where you're kind of like, wow. So it kind of goes on this big roller coaster rides of emotions throughout the movie, and I don't know, it was really good. It was one of those movies to me that was kind of like, out of nowhere, because there's certain movies that kind of hit like that, but I really enjoyed it. It's getting a Criterion, I think, in April, which is really cool. So definitely going to check that out. So Nora is on VOD if you want to rent it or buy it or anything on there. I would recommend checking it out if it's definitely a different movie that I've seen from this year. So I would check it out. Where am I at? Number 7. My number 7 is a movie called Greatest Hits. And this one came out in early in the year, maybe February or March of last year. And it was a Hulu original, and it's still on Hulu if you want to check it out. It's called Greatest Hits. I think I really love this movie because I love music, and essentially what this movie is this: you follow this girl who tragically lost her boyfriend or her husband. I think it was one of the two. I can't remember. And she goes back and listens to these records, and when she listens to the music, it kind of takes her back to memories that she had with him, and it's just her way of coping with everything, with life. I love that about this movie because I truly believe that music can literally transport you to different times. Like, you can listen to a song and it'll take you to something you haven't thought about in years, and I love that feeling about music. And it can take you back to when you were younger, and just it can flood you. It just opens floodgates of memories, especially when I hear songs all the time that give me goosebumps and just make me think of times when I was at the beach, or times when I was small, or when I was going through something. And it's just, I love that about music. And this movie's just really sweet because she meets a guy later on, and they start to connect and whatnot. And I don't know, to me, it's just how music not only, connects you to memories, but it connects with, like, it's just powerful. It's just the power of music. Uh, Very good movie. Like I said, really sweet movie. If you love music, I'd give this one a shot for sure. Number 6 is a movie called Daddy-O. I was lucky to check this one out because thankfully it played near me. Every once in a while, we'll get lucky and these smaller independent movies will play near me. But this one has Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn, and it's one of those movies where it's just two people in a car talking the entire movie. Dakota Johnson is picked up from the airport by a cab driver who's played by Sean Penn. And the whole movie is just them having this conversation. And I really, really love movies like this because, I don't know, there's something about just people connecting. And there was a movie with Tom Hardy years ago, maybe it was 2017 or 18, that is just him in a car the whole time, just having these phone calls. Love that movie. There's something that just works for me with movies like this. Locke. That's the name of the movie with Tom Hardy. Locke. And then they did one last year or the year before with David Duchovny and Meg Ryan called What Happens Later. I think that was it. What Happens Later or What Happens After. I think it's What Happens Later. And that was just the two of them in this airport talking, which a lot of people did not like that movie at all. I feel like I was the one person or the 5% of people that maybe enjoyed that movie. I liked it. It worked for me. But anyway, with Daddy-O, they just connect through. It's just about human connection. It's one of those things where I believe that people come into your life at certain times for certain things. whether it be to get you through something or just be a support system, or and it could be anything. It could be, for a season of your life, it could be for a day, it could be for a few hours. But it's just how having one conversation with somebody can really change your perspective on everything. And that's what this movie is. It's just the two of them talking about life, and she's dealing with something, and he just, they just talk about it. And like I said, I love movies like that. Like I said, it's one location. They're in a cab the whole entire movie. And like I said, if this type of movie works for you, then I would check it out, because I really enjoyed it. It's one that nobody talked about, and I think when I went to go see it, there was me and two other people in the theater. So I doubt it did very well, but it's on VOD. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but yeah, I would check it out if you enjoy movies like that. And it's like I said, if you enjoy movies just about human connection. Number 5 is We Live in Time. This is a movie I heard a lot of buzz about, because apparently everyone was talking about how it was sad as shit for the first couple weeks when when people were getting early screenings or whatever of the movie. So, uh, but I love Andrew Garfield and I love Florence Pugh. They're both phenomenal actors. So when the two of them were together, I was like, this movie. No matter if the movie's bad, they will probably single handedly save it. And the movie was not bad at all. Uh, it's fantastic. It's essentially a love story of, Andrew Garfield meets, well, technically Florence Pugh meets Andrew Garfield because she hits him with her car, but they fall in love and all this stuff, and it turns out she has, I think it's cancer, so she's trying to live her dream. She's a chef, and she there's like a certain competition she wants to compete in and whatnot. And it just tells the story of their life. And the movie is told out of sequence, which at first I was kind of like, okay. I was like, so it's kind of odd to me that it was told out of sequence. But at the end of the movie, the way it ends, it really hits me. It really hit me that I was like, oh, okay. The reason that they told this movie out of sequence is because when you remember somebody, obviously you don't remember everything in chronological order. Everything is just random memories. Even a small detail at the end of the movie that was mentioned way earlier when they first met at the beginning of the movie, near the beginning of the movie. It's a small detail. It's like there's certain things like that's how you remember people. You carry on stuff like that for people, and you take stuff from them, from your life, and you apply it. And it was, I don't know, I love movies that have to deal with time and about living your life and doing the things that you want to do. I love movies like that. I guess it's a personal thing for me because my whole life I've just felt like I don't have time. There's not enough time to do what you want to do, and you've got to learn how to live in the moment and live and be, and do what you want to, make time to do what you want to do. I know it's hard with everything that goes on in the world and with jobs and money and all that stuff, but we got to learn how to do that. And I just love movies like that, like this, that tackle that. And but yeah, so number 5 is We Live in Time. Number 4 is another movie like We Live in Time, with that same thing about time and whatnot that I was just talking about. But it's a movie called My Old Ass. It's a movie that I knew nothing about until I saw the first trailer. I don't even remember what movie I went to go see. I randomly saw the trailer, and the trailer hooked me. Again, it's one of those movies where I was like, damn, yeah, that's for me. And it's essentially where through a certain way, this girl can see an older version of herself, and the older version of herself is played by Aubrey Plaza. It's this coming of age story, but it's also this movie about learning how to grow up, learning how to let go of things, and accept things will never be different. How you live and you love and you lose things in your life, and it's okay to say, and it asks you the moral question of, just because I know you know, if something's going to end badly or something's going to go badly, do I still rob myself of the experience of that? Like, because I could have a you know, hell of a ride and I could have all these great memories and all this stuff, and it's like, do I sacrifice all that for one bad thing? And because I know that I'm going to be miserable because of that one thing. I'm trying to tiptoe around it because I don't want to give away what the, you know, thing is. So I hope this is making sense, and I hope it just don't sound like a jumbled rant. And again, it tackles the themes of time, how we grow up so fast and we just need to enjoy being a kid or a teenager while we can. Enjoy every little moment. Enjoy the moment right now that you were in. And I, like, again, I'm a sucker for movies like that. I mean, because there's a thing in this movie where Aubrey Plaza tells herself, the younger version of herself, that, you know, the only thing you can't get back is time. We can get back everything else, but we can never get back time. How time is this, most important thing. Movies like this just really hit me on an emotional level, and there's a scene later on where she's talking to her mom and talking about how, you know, she'll always need her mom and stuff like that. And that part got me pretty good. But this whole movie, it's just a really sweet movie, but it's a really gut punch of a movie. And I highly recommend everybody check it out. Like I said, this one really flew under the radar because, like I said, I saw one trailer for it one time with one movie I went to go see, and it is currently now streaming on Amazon. So I highly recommend checking it out. Number 3, we're going back to the action genre for a movie, and that is called Monkey Man. This is a movie, when I went to go see it, as soon as it was over, I was like, that's in my top 10 of the year. I loved this movie. After it came out, I mean, there was a few people talking about it, but as the year went on, it just kind of died out. And I don't know, I loved it. I thought the action was great in it. I loved the story. I love the lore that is in this movie by Dev Patel. This movie is directed and written by Dev Patel and stars Dev Patel. And you can tell this movie is a labor of love because I watched a bunch of behind the scenes stuff and interviews where he literally put blood, sweat, and tears into this movie to get it made, and he had to go through hell to get it made, and it paid off because to me it's fantastic. And I think this movie was originally going to go to Netflix, and I think that something happened with Netflix and it lost its I don't know if they lost the something happened and it wasn't the rights or anything, but something happened and it was kind of just dead in the water. And uh, Jordan Peele and his production company came and picked it up through Universal. And thank God he did, because of that, this movie got a theatrical release. They called it, a lot of people compared it, it was like, you know, another version of John Wick. And I can see that, but, you know, at the beginning of this movie, he gets his ass kicked a lot. And he kind of has to go on this journey of self-discovery and really figure out stuff about him. And that just kind of leads back to the finale of the movie and whatnot with some great action sequence. There's action throughout, but a lot of people felt like it kind of dipped a little bit in the second part in the second act of the movie. But to me, it was just building the story and the lore, and it worked for me. It's really a revenge thriller. It's about this guy trying to get into this what do you call it, like compound or area, or not really a compound, but this high rise VIP area where all these uh, bad people are that essentially killed his family, killed his mother, and yeah, so essentially it's just a revenge thriller. But I thought it was great. Like I said, if you love action, I would highly recommend checking it out. It might still be on Peacock because Peacock does Universal stuff, so I would check it out if you love it. This is a movie that I know would be up a friend of mine's alley that I really want to show him because I think he would really dig the lore and the action and all that stuff in it. I haven't got a chance to show it to him yet, but I hope I get to soon because this is one that I really think he would like. My number 2 is a movie that going into it, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. The only reason I went to go see it is because it was attached to John Krasinski, and anybody that knows me knows that A Quiet Place is one of my favorites. That is a movie that literally once I went to go see it about 9 or 10 times in the theater, and uh, yeah, it just that he's somebody that after watching that and after watching A Quiet Place that really made me want to direct something. So I loved him from The Office, but I love seeing him be able to do these movies and stuff like this. I think that's fantastic. I hope he keeps writing and directing because he's great at it. But my number 2 is a movie called If. Now the trailers did look a little goofy and a little kid friendly, but man, when you go see this movie, there's so much emotion and so much heart. And I don't know what it is about John Krasinski. This just proves how damn good of a writer he is. Every movie that he's done makes me so emotional, and I cry. Even A Quiet Place, even the second one. It just there's something that he knows how to do that pulls at the heartstrings, and I cry at every John Krasinski movie. And I mean, I really like this movie a lot. Essentially, it's about this young girl who is going through something where eventually she starts to see all these imaginary friends from everybody, and she teams up with Ryan Reynolds to try to figure out a way for these adults who grew up to get their imaginary friends back. And I think, to me, though, this movie is really about healing yourself, because it just shows that no matter what, everybody needs somebody in their life to give them that extra push, that attaboy, or just to show that they're there to support them. And no matter what it would be, for the good times and the really bad times. To me, it was it hit personal to me because it's really about kind of never losing the inner kid in you. And it's also, to me, about never losing your imagination. There's something in it as we get older, like all that stuff kind of fades away. And that's something, as an adult myself, that's something I've always been scared of. I never want to lose my inner child. I never want to lose my imagination. And sadly, I have lost a lot of my imagination. And this movie kind of takes you to a place to where you feel like everything will just be okay. Like this is a movie about letting that kid in you, that inner kid, heal the adult you. And I don't know, it worked with me on so many levels. And John Krasinski is like I said, there's some magic in his writing that he does. And I will always champion this guy. I will always root for him in anything he does. Whatever he does, I will go support it. And I'm there. I'm 100% sold. I don't even have to see a trailer for anything at this point. If he's done it, I'm there. I think this movie's on Paramount Plus. Pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was a Paramount movie. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a movie that I think the way that the world is now, and with stuff going on left and right and how crazy things are, this is one of those movies that the world needs. And how I think I worded it in one of my reviews that I put online after I saw it was, turn it on, let the inner kid in you laugh, cry, and just go on this crazy journey. And you never know, you might end up finding some healing along the way that you never know you needed, and things might hit you in a way you never knew you needed. So check this out for sure. But my numero uno is Dune Part 2. What can I say? I fucking love these movies. I love this director. Denis Villeneuve is a masterclass of directing. I love the first part. The first part kind of does more of a world building where it sets up into where this one picks up. So the first one, it has some action in it, and I love the first one. But the first one does a lot more of the world building, where this one is definitely more. We get more of the action set pieces, and things kind of go into full throttle mode. So, I've never read the books of Dune. I didn't know anything about Dune. I've never seen the David Lynch version of Dune either. But I was sold just on Denis as a director. Like I said, anything that dude does, I'm all for it. Uh, Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, anything, dude. That guy is incredible. Blade Runner 2049, one of my favorite. It's become one of my favorite films of all time. It is an absolute crime that movie did not do well at the box office. I love the first Blade Runner, I do, but something about that second one, I loved it. I think I love it even more than the original one, and it's in one of my that one is for sure cemented in my top films of all time. So with this movie, you get the returning cast again, and it's more of the story of Paul Atreides and everything he's dealing with, and it kind of leaves you on this note to where I really want the third part with Dune Messiah, and I think, from what I understand, he is working on something for that. If you're into like the sci-fi action type things, I would check Dune out, because when I went to the first Dune, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like if this is gonna be up my alley, and I walked out of part one like that was amazing. I loved it. I loved everything he was able to do on a visual aspect. These massive set pieces and these action set pieces he's able to do just flawlessly, and it's like that's all of that in the second one, if not more. And it's just beautiful to look at. Score is fantastic, acting is fantastic all around. It's so fun to be. This is one of those movies that you go to the movies for. This is one of those movies that you go to escape your world from. It needs to be seen on the biggest screen, surround sound, all that good stuff, and just sit down and have an absolute blast with it. I'm pretty sure this one is on Max as well now. I think both parts are on Max. So if you haven't seen either one of them, I know a lot of people thought the first one was boring. I don't get it, but that's just me. So highly recommend checking out Dune Part 2. Highly recommend Dune, period. If you haven't seen any of Denis Villeneuve's movies, please do yourself a favor. Like I said, Blade Runner 2049, Prisoners is up there as well. If you have not seen Prisoners, it's one of the best crime drama movies I've seen in a very long time. It's fantastic. You owe yourself a watch to that if you've never seen it. Again, might be biased because it's got Jake Gyllenhaal. To me, his movies are just phenomenal. I really want to go back and kind of get more into his earlier work. So I've seen a good handful of most of his movies, but not his earlier stuff, because a lot of people said even his early stuff is fantastic. So Denis is always a director that same with John Krasinski, I'm always going to support, and I'll be there no matter what. Number 1, Dune Part 2. So thank you guys so much for sticking around for another video for my top movies of the year, or this year does not feel like 2025 to me. It still feels like I'm in 2024. But I just want to thank all of you for coming back for another video for my top movies of 2024. There we go. I'm going to try to do another list of top anticipated movies of 2025. I don't know everything that's coming out. I know a little bit of stuff, but not everything. I was going to try to do the Sundance Film Festival again this year, but I don't know what they're doing. But the first year I did it, you could see almost everything online. And the last couple of years, everything has been very limited on what you can see online. And I think this year there's maybe 10 to 15 movies is all you can see online. And of course, they're none of the ones that I'm interested in. Not that I'm saying that they won't be good movies or anything like that, but there was like 6 horror ones that I was like, this is awesome. This is something I really want to check out. And of course, none of them are the online ones. There is one documentary though that I'm interested in. Something about it was called Something with Zodiac. I don't remember what the thing was, but that one I might end up checking out if I can pull it off to where I can see it. So anyway, this is just my list and my personal pick for movies, my top movies of 2024. I'd like to know what all of your top movies of 2024 was. So just drop those down below and let me know. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and please, if you have not, check out my review for Presents and my top 10 horror movies of 2024 as well. So thank you very much, and until next time, have a good one.